Keep still, so keep still. Hi, YouTube. It's been a long time since I've gone live on YouTube. It feels so strange to be live on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to wait a few more minutes for a few people to hop on. This was sort of an impromptu live, so I don't expect a lot of people on this live today, but I hope a couple of people will show up and we can have a little bit of a discussion. Hi, welcome. Welcome to my live chat. We're going to have a fun chat about sort of like from that game, Never Would I Ever. I don't know if you've ever heard of that game, but it's kind of a spinoff from that. So let me see. I'm going to share the link. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm inviting a few of my friends. Oops, that's not. Hello. All right, I'm going to get ready to get started. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share this live with some of your friends. If you're watching this as a replay, definitely comment replay in the comment section. And I'm going to get started in another minute. For those of you just getting on, or those of you watching as a replay, I decided to do this live because I made a commitment to myself and to my viewers, even though I didn't really tell you, that I would have a video posted every Friday evening. And I've been pretty consistent with that. And today, because of the holiday, not an American holiday, another holiday, my video for some reason was not finished. It was not being finished, the editing portion of it. The editor did not finish it. So I just said to myself, you know what? We're not making excuses this year. We are not making excuses. We are going to show up regardless of what happens. We are going to show up. So when you come on, please feel free to announce yourself in the chat. Of course, if you're watching this as a replay, please go ahead and just put replay in the comment section so I'll know how many people watched it. All right. So we're about 5 minutes in, and so I'm going to get started. Welcome. If you're hopping in, if we don't know each other, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Or if we know each other, just say, hey, this is going to be a fun chat. It's not going to be very long, but I just came up with this idea. I have a great video that I prepared for my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But like I explained earlier, the video editor did not send it back on time, and we're not going to make excuses this year. We're going to do our best to do what we say that we're going to do. So I said that every Friday I'd have a new video posted, and so I want to honor that. So instead of having a pre-recorded video, I'm going live. And it takes a lot to go live, especially when you're doing it impromptu, which I've never done before. Usually when I go live, which it's been a while since I've gone live, it's usually something pre-scripted or something like that. So again, for this topic, we're going to talk about some things that that moms in particular would not would or would not spend money on. So if you're a mom and you want to get all the things for your children, you want to provide for them, but there are certain things that you would not buy no matter how much money you have, put them in the chat. I have a little list of some things that some wealthy moms have said that they would not buy for their children. All right. So I'm just going to list a few of them, and depending on who comes in and if you're communicating with me, then we can talk about it. If not, it'll just be a list, and we can just think about that list. Now, just to introduce myself, my name is Ruth Beloso, and I am a financial coach, and I specialize in helping moms just like yourself, professional moms. Pardon. Professional moms manage their money better so that they can take the stress out of managing their money, regain their independence. And so we know that if you've gone through a divorce, it can be really devastating financially, not to mention emotionally and in other ways. So I sit with you and I help you work out the different pieces to make sure that your money is organized so that you're able to still live the life that you want to live with your children, and you can just live a life of joy. But sometimes the joy kind of is far from you when you have so many things going on. Yes, you work. Yes, you have your business, but you're just not organized with your finances, or you're not managing your money in a way that's going to be able to give you the things that you really need in your life, or you really want. You may want to travel more and see more things. It's totally different when you're traveling as a family unit, together with your spouse, but now you're divorced and it's just you and the kids, and it's a different dynamic a lot of times. But being able to manage your money well, you can still be able to go on those great vacations and have an enjoyable time with your children, just like I have done and I enjoy doing. And yeah, without that guilt of feeling like, oh boy, I don't have my stuff together. When I get back, I don't know how I'm going to manage. So you definitely don't want to live in that space where you feel overwhelmed when you get back from vacation, but you want to feel like everything is set up so that you can live the lifestyle that you want to live. And so that's what I help women with, is just making sure that your money all the aspects of your money are in order so that you can live your best life, as you as some people will call it. Okay, so I'm gonna get started with a couple of these. Um, and feel free to enter some in the chat as well. Okay, so the one of the things that rich parents say that they would not do is provide instant gratification items for their children. So things that are on impulse, or things that are just their kids just want them for no reason, they say that they would not do. Now, I feel like that's really, really general because, I mean, who does not from time to time want to just gift their children something just because they ask? I mean, I know I do. Um, I definitely don't do it all the time, but there are times, especially if we go on vacation or we go to an amusement park or the fair or something like that. I want them to feel, comfortable. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel like it's a special time. So it's not something I'll do every single day of their lives, but if we go out, I want them to feel comfortable eating things that they would normally get to eat. Um, Getting little trinkets, toys, or what have you. But I've also taught them to spend their own money. So they get into the habit of budgeting their money and knowing how much money they want to spend when they go on vacation or go on an outing or something like that. So that is one of the things that rich parents say they would not buy. So if you're a rich mom and you feel like that is something that you can resonate with, please definitely let me know in the comment section. If you are the type of mom that will just give them things on a whim, just because they ask, or would you say, you don't need this? Because obviously we can afford to give them those things, but it just depends whether or not we want to. All right. So another thing is designer labels for status. A lot of rich moms say they would not give their children that. Instead of focusing on brand names and status symbols, wealthy parents teach their children the value of quality over labels. I could definitely relate to that one. That's something that I have always practiced, even previously in my life before I had all the children that I have now. I was never too much into labels. I don't have any problem with labels. As a matter of fact, I like to buy from small businesses and boutiques. So sometimes the prices are a little bit higher, but they're better quality. So for me, it's more so a value thing over, the label, what designer designed it. It's more so what is the value that we're going to get from this item, if it's well made, if it looks good, or if it feels good, things like that. So focusing on those things rather than, I don't want to mention any specific label, but it's this brand or that brand. So that they get more of a sense of looking for things based on, you know, how does this make me feel? How does this make me look? Is it comfortable? Is it good quality? Focusing on the value of things over the label of it. So that's just something to think about. And I know some rich moms who would say, I'm not buying any name brand stuff. And then there are other moms who would be like, yes, I am sure buying, and I'm not going to mention all the labels, but it's definitely up to you what you want to do. And once you're managing your money in a way that allows you to have that lifestyle where you can spend money how you want, then I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it, honestly. But as for me, I don't focus on labels, focus on quality of the items. The next thing is excessive toys and gadgets. Um, Rich parents avoid overly indulging their children in excess toys and gadgets and encourage them to participate in things that bring them joy. So I've always been that type of parent too, that I don't purchase a lot of toys for my children. And these things are generalized because you may be different. You may be the type of rich mom that's like, oh no, I get them a lot of toys. But for me personally, and it's no judgment, I've never been into buying a lot of toys. I'm more so into doing things. So experiences have always been my thing. So we'll have memberships to the zoo, we'll have memberships to the museum, we'll go to museums, we'll go on trips and things like that. And that's what I'd rather put my money towards. But like I said before, once you're managing your money the right way, or the way that makes sense for you, then you'll be able to decide for yourself, whether you want them to have a whole bunch of toys, or whether you want to go on trips, or whether you want to do both. It's really up to you. So as a parent, you get to man the ship, so to speak, and decide, what is best for your children. So that is another consideration. Another one is, well, this is not really buying stuff per se, but having an entitlement mentality. It goes back to, again, that gratification and just getting them whatever they want based on how they feel. So, a lot of moms, a lot of rich moms, try not to buy everything their children ask for, so that they don't develop that entitlement mentality. I really believe that that's something that's really prevalent in today's society, not just amongst children, if we're being totally honest. Even us as adults sometimes can have an entitlement attitude. So it's important to know, to set some parameters for children to follow, even if you can afford all the things that they ask for. Doesn't mean that they need all of it, doesn't mean that you should provide it. Sometimes saying no, or telling them to wait, or making them earn the money, kind of puts them in a better situation in the long run. Because honestly, you have but so much space in a house to put all the things that you want, number one. And number two, it's a waste. It's a waste of money to just keep buying things just because you want it, and then you're not going to use it, especially for children. so so yeah, being able to provide boundaries for them, so that they don't develop that entitlement mentality, is really important. But again, and I'll go back to this time and time again, if you manage your money in a way so that you'll be able to afford the things that they want, you can decide for yourself how much of it you want to say yes to, and how much of it you're going to be like wait, or no, or something like that. But it's totally up to you as a parent, and I love that. I love that you get to choose. And again, that's why I focus on helping um, moms to manage their money better. Again, coming out of a divorce situation where there's two people in the household working most of the time. Sometimes not. Sometimes you may have been a stay-at-home mom, but no matter what the situation is, when you're divorced, then now you got to figure out how are you going to pay all of the bills, and you got to make sure they're paid on time. You got to make sure you have money set aside for your retirement. You got to make sure you have money for the children's schooling. And yes, you may be getting child support or some other help, but a lot of the responsibility will be on your shoulders. So it's important to be able to manage all those pieces, so that you don't end up like a circus clown trying to go like this, balance everything. I have totally been there. And so that's why I help my clients, so that, reduce that stress, because oh my gosh, that stress can really do a number on you. But you want to be able to enjoy your life as if you were still with your partner, but just in a different way, with your children. All right. The next one is expensive cars at a young age. Wealthy parents often discourage buying expensive cars for their teenagers, because they want to make sure that they're emphasizing responsibility and financial prudence. Now, um, when it comes to a teenager, honestly, they don't really get the whole car thing. Their brains have not really developed enough yet. So they're excited to get a car. And it really doesn't matter whether it's a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, a Tesla, whether it's a Toyota, a Honda, whatever it is, they're going to drive it however they drive. And so it's up to you. I think that for me personally, I don't think that I'd buy a car that's super expensive for my children. My I just went shopping the other day, car shopping a few months ago with one of my adult children, and she bought her own car. So I didn't need to buy a car for her. And she practiced mindful spending, which is something that I teach in my financial coaching program, and she was able to get a really nice car. And because she paid for it, she's very responsible with it, but she's not a teenager, right? So when it comes to like teenagers, they're not, usually they're not as responsible. So spending a lot of money on a car kind of doesn't make sense for them because they don't really get the whole value of it. But older children, you have to know your child and know if it makes sense for you. But I'm just curious, as you're watching this, would you buy a luxury car for your teenager even though you can afford it? Is this something that you would do, or would you say, no, I would not do? I'd really like to know that. Okay. All right, the next thing, expensive vacations without learning. So rather than lavish vacations without purpose, they prioritize educational trips and experiences that broaden their children's horizons. For me, I'm all about the educational trip. I just feel like you should be learning everywhere that you go. But I've definitely taken vacations where it's just us chilling, us just having fun. So I'm going to disagree with the list there, kind of, because sometimes you just want to relax, just have fun. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you position yourself to be able to do that, hey, everything else can be serious or a learning experience. I mean, you can even sneak in learning on that fun trip, but sometimes you just want to relax. And so, yeah, I do a lot of educational trips for my kids, but I also think, excuse me, sometimes you just want to let loose and have a good time, enjoy the beach, enjoy foods that you don't normally enjoy, outings and all that stuff. So, what do you think? Is that something that, you think about when you're planning vacations? I don't know. All right, unlimited allowances. Okay, so a lot of rich moms say that they set limits on allowances and encourage their children to earn and manage money responsibly. So this is something that I've been approached by other moms and my clients about, allow the whole idea of allowance and how much is reasonable and things like that. And honestly, because you have a lot of money, you may think, oh, I'll just get this a whole bunch to the kids or whatever. And it really just depends on you, what you think makes sense to you. I'm really big on children earning things, like working for it, and then I give it to them. It's just how I feel. So when I say working, I don't necessarily mean like sweeping or wiping down something, but using their brains in some sort of way, even if it's reading something or um doing something in my business or something to earn money. I prefer that model, but I think that there should be a cap on an allowance. It shouldn't be like whatever they whatever they want, but I really won't say shouldn't because everybody's different. And so you may feel like, hey, you have the money, so just let them have a good time. Like give them whatever they want and let them ball out. And yeah, that might work for you, and that is fine. Again, if you position yourself to be able to do that, then have at it. But if you're not in the right position, if you still have some pieces of your finances that you need to get under control, then definitely see my information in the description box and we can talk about how we can get that situation under control for you so that you can be able to do more things with and for your children without feeling stressed out, without feeling like you're shooting yourself in the foot long term. I mean, you make good money, you might as well spend it the way you want to, but it's important to make sure that the way you want to spend it is the way that it's going to be able to sustain you long term and not just doing things on a whim and then at the end you're suffering. So that's why it's important to have a good financial plan in place. All right. All right, short-term material trends. So, rich moms teach their children not to chase short-lived trends, but to invest in enduring and valuable possessions. And I like that because I feel like the long term is so much more important, and teaching children about value, the value of things, because a lot of the things that we buy on a day-to-day basis, they're not going to really last long. So I try to focus on whatever I buy, making it something that's going to be valuable long term. They can make money off of it long term or whatever they want to do, but some of the trendy things are things that are going to wither away really quickly. So they don't really need that stuff. But just really educating them. I think that's the key thing, is to make sure they're educated about different choices. And you know what? Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. A lot of times they will just make the best choices based on, what we've taught them, and then they can figure it out for themselves. That's how they learn. But if we control everything, then it's kind of hard for them to, make those decisions that are really going to help them long term. Okay. All right. And the last one I have on my list is neglecting financial education. So, rich parents prioritize teaching their children about financial literacy and money management to equip them for a successful financial future. Now, listen, that's not, obviously, that's not something you're necessarily buying unless you're putting them in a course or purchasing a course for them or in school or something like that. However, it's something that is super important and that we prioritize because we want to make sure that our children know what to do with the money. We can make all the money and give them this wealthy lifestyle, but if they don't know what to do with it, they're just going to waste it. And then they're not going to have anything to pass down to their children or to live off of long term or anything like that. So it's great that we can give them that lifestyle and they know that they can come to us if they need help. But over time, they need to learn how to manage that money themselves so that they can also be thinking about the future and their future children and leaving a legacy for them. And I think that that's it for that list. And I'm just really curious as to, is there something that you've bought for your child or children that you feel like nobody would actually do? You don't think anybody else would actually do? For me, one of the things that I'd like to buy for my children, not in the near future, but it's something kind of down the line, is horses. My oldest son has expressed a desire to own horses. And so that's something that I'm definitely looking into, maybe in a few years, getting a couple of horses. So again, it's valuable. It's not like a toy that's going to be left in the corner and ignored. So I feel like it's worthwhile to buy something like that. I think another thing that I think I would buy for my children, my adult children, is a house. I think that that's something that, I feel, yeah, probably everybody wants to buy their own house, but I feel like buying them a house is a great start. And they don't have to live in the house, they can rent it out or do whatever they want with it. But I think that that's something that maybe some people would frown upon or think oh, I'm not going to do that. But I think that that is something worthwhile spending on. Anyway, that wraps it up for our never would I ever chat for today. I hope that as you're watching this as a replay, that you will leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what part of it resonated with you. And if you are in a situation where, you've just become single, maybe the past few years, and you've got to get your finances in order, even though, yes, you're working every day at your job or your business, making great money, but you just need to get all the pieces tightened up so that you can live that life that you want to live, go on more vacations with your children, just have that time freedom to spend with your friends and do the things that bring you joy. See my information in the description box and set up a call with me, a free call with me, and let's talk about how we can work together to get you to where you want to be. Thank you so much again for watching. And like I always say, change your mind, change your pocketbook. See you in the next video.